Hello and welcome to your third weekly walkthrough brought to you by the Kid here at Red Gaming Tech. Here are my top 5 picks of the past week's news. Number 5 this week, Saints Row 4 has finally gotten an Australian rating from the Board of Certification, whatever they call it in Australia. It's received an MA 15 plus, which is similar to a UK 15 or equivalent in your country. This decision was made after apparently like a 20-minute portion of the game, mostly encompassing one mission involving some kind of alien drugs or something, was cut out of the game. I think the thinking behind it generally was that the Australian certification board for games and, well, I don't know if they have the same one for games and movies, I'm not Australian. But essentially, if a game in any capacity offers or uses drugs and narcotics as a reward or incentive, their guidelines essentially mean that the game can't be given a certificate at all in Australia. So the developers have removed that mission, and the game has now been granted an MA 15 plus certificate. So sans that mission, anyone 15 and above in Australia will be able to purchase and play Saints Row 4. So aside from that one mission being removed, the game, well, according to what I can find, is largely unchanged from the international version. You can hear more about this in a Martin's video posted up either today or yesterday, where she gives a more in-depth explanation of the changes that were made and the effect that's going to have on the final product. So number 4 this week is a slightly strange one. Fez II has been cancelled, or announced as being cancelled by Phil Fish recently, following kind of a confrontation with an online vlogger. Essentially, Phil Fish has taken a lot of flack since, pretty much since he announced Fez as an indie title. I'm not entirely familiar with the whole ins and outs of what went on, but from what I can tell, he's not exactly the most popular person in the indie kind of circuit. And I think, to be fair to him, he doesn't cope well with stress and intense criticism, but understandably, from what I've seen, he does kind of draw a lot of that attention with his kind of conduct and behaviour in the public eye. So following a confrontation with another vlogger, essentially Phil Fish has come out and said, right, that's it, I'm out of the game, Fez 2's cancelled, deal with it. He didn't actually say deal with it, I said that, I threw that in. But essentially he's pretty much announced that he's done with the games industry entirely, following the kind of treatment he's had and the sort of responses he's had from people. I can't personally blame him. I mean, the guy's obviously under a lot of stress and, has a lot on his plate, and especially with the kind of the issues that occurred with the kind of launch of the original Fez and the bugs and the lateness of an Xbox patch for the game. I do understand why he's stressed out. I think it would be a shame if he does permanently withdraw from the games industry, as he's obviously a talented guy. But I think at the very least he needs to take a good break and kind of get himself in a better place and kind of let a lot of the heat die down around this whole situation before he kind of makes any sort of return. Number 3 this week, so Bethesda have announced an Elder Scrolls Anthology, which is set to include every Elder Scrolls game from Arena, the first Elder Scrolls, right up to Skyrim, including DLC, I believe, although I'm not 100% on that. So the package, as I said, will include physical maps for each game, like printed out ones, like the nice one that came with Skyrim, which I'm touching on my wall right now. So include every game, potentially all the DLC, well, potentially the complete editions of all the games. So that basically includes Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind. What were the Morrowind expansions? Tribunal and Blood Moon. Then you've got Oblivion, Knights of the Nine, and the Shivering Isles, and then you've got Skyrim and the DLC for that. All in one package at a pretty neat price. In the UK, it'll be $49.99. So this is only available on PC, by the way, as of so far as they've announced. It's only for PC currently. In the US, it will be $79.99. In Australia, it will sell at $89.99. So item number 2 this week. Unfortunately for Nintendo, the Wii U in the first financial quarter of this year for Nintendo has sold only 160,000 units, which is really not enough to sustain a console as a commercial venture. The 3DS, on the other hand, has been selling exceptionally well in the kind of realm of handheld gaming devices. But unfortunately, the Wii U just isn't or doesn't seem to be competing effectively with the 360 and PS3, and obviously the upcoming consoles at the end of this year. So it's some kind of troubling news for Nintendo as to kind of the future of their home console business. The Wii was actually for the longest time the biggest seller of the last generation, and it just seems like a lot of people haven't seen the necessity to go ahead and make the upgrade to the Wii U. The price on a Wii U is actually quite low. In the UK, they're around £300, sometimes less. A lot of shops have been steadily discounting the price to kind of try and push sales, but the general public around the world, it seems, has been pretty slow on the uptake, and I think most people are just waiting for the Xbox One and PS4 at the end of this year. So yeah, it's not some pretty shaky news for Nintendo. Hopefully, with games like Super Smash Brothers, Wii U, and things like that, hopefully we'll see a pickup in sales. It would be a shame to see Nintendo just fall by the wayside in the home console market. But so far this year it hasn't been a particularly good time for them. And so at number one this week, something that's got me absolutely psyched out of my mind. A new trailer, the first trailer has come out for the first DLC pack for Bioshock Infinite. Which, as I predicted, I don't think I predicted on here, but I predicted with some friends, does take place in Rapture with an alternate version of Booker and Elizabeth. Well, I presume it's Booker. I'm not sure whether they actually said in the trailer specifically whether it was Booker, but it was certainly a very similar voice. So it features an alternate kind of, I don't know what the term is, like an alternate version of Elizabeth, who's more kind of film noir style in the kind of the sort of society of Rapture. There's not a lot revealed about the plotline, only that Elizabeth and Booker will be present, and it will take place in Rapture. So we're going to be waiting for details on that. But literally just the idea of having those two, like after we had the semi-crossover at the end of Bioshock Infinite, I've been dying for a DLC for it that actually takes place in Rapture, and I did put down not like monetary bets, but I had bet people that they would do a DLC in Rapture. So I'm super excited to see that that's actually happened, and we're going to be able to play that. As for the degree of content, price, what's actually going to go on, how long the DLC will be, there's no information available yet. Literally all we have to go on is this trailer, which I've watched about 10 times now looking for details, and you notice some little subtle hints of what might be going on. I mean, it looks to be set before the whole collapse of Rapture, so before the original Bioshock. So it's set during kind of a more prosperous time for Rapture from the looks of things. There's no chaos and stuff going on. I mean, it may be that we get to see finally the actual, because it's kind of implied in Bioshock that the kind of downfall of the city happened very rapidly during some kind of festival from the looks of it. And it would be cool to see, how that all went down and what triggered it all, and what actually happened and why everyone suddenly kind of lost their minds. So there's a lot of potential for building on the story and building a stronger connection between the two games there. As for the changes to Elizabeth's character, it's odd at first to see her as a more kind of suave, kind of sexualized person. But they've made some subtle changes, like put some more makeup on and kind of changed her clothes to make her fit more into the kind of Rapture aesthetic. And her character does actually adapt well to that kind of look. I don't know, maybe it's just the kind of shape of her face and stuff just kind of suits that aesthetic really well. There hasn't been a release date given yet. I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on that, and I'll be sure to let you know as soon as I know when that's going to be out and price and everything. But that's got me absolutely super excited for that, and I absolutely cannot wait to play it. So that concludes your third weekly walkthrough brought to you by the Kid here at Red Gaming Tech. If you're interested, the currently playing background video is taken from my ongoing, we've just started a Let's Play of the Duke Nukem Atomic Edition, now available on Steam. Check over on Red Gaming Tech's channel, well, this channel actually, and you'll find a link to Part 1. Part 2 will be going up soon. I'm going to be doing a full playthrough of all 4 episodes of Duke Nukem 3D with commentary and all that lovely stuff. So come over and check that out here on Red Gaming Tech, and drop me a comment, get involved, have a chat, whatever. Just enjoy. So I'll be back next week, hopefully around the same time. Unfortunately, it was a little bit late recording this week, but we'll be back next week with another top 5 picks of the coming week's news. So I will see you there. See you then here on Red Gaming Tech. Thank you and goodbye. And as a small bonus this week, I'm sure some of the more eagle-eyed listeners will have noticed that the audio quality on my microphone has changed. This is actually due to a small localized, I guess, explosion that occurred in my room, and unfortunately took out my regular mic. So I've got my new one in the mail, so it should be back to my good old SM58 for next week. Uh, I'm not sure where to go with this, so I'll leave you with that little tidbit. Localized explosions are something that seems to happen in my room kind of too much, like more than they should, but yeah, that's what you get for kind of doing all the wiring in your own room. So yeah, I will see you next week. I'll leave you with that, and thank you. Goodbye. This has been the Kid at Red Gaming Tech.